evening, it's Owen and Julien Blanc sitting here at the Rockefeller Center in New York City. And what we're going to be shooting into right now is whether or not you are plugged into the Matrix, whether or not you're a battery of the Matrix, whether or not you are a slave to a system and asleep without even realizing it. And you may have seen the movie The Matrix back in the day, and on some level, you resonated with it. You were like, this is my life. I feel like I'm in the Matrix, like a slave to the Matrix. And this is why anytime people talk about the Matrix analogy, everybody resonates with it on some level. So the purpose of this video is to give you, first of all, an understanding of how you're plugged in the Matrix, but second of all, to teach you the way out.
One of the reasons so many people resonated with this movie, The Matrix, is that element of being unconscious. You know, there's two levels. There's being unconscious where you're in the pod as this battery, but even in the Matrix itself, people are just in this haze and this derp state. And to anyone watching, you're like, well, hell yeah, that's the world, that's other people, but that's also a little bit how I feel inside. You know, and I'm sure this connects with you here. That's element of not living up to your true potential, what you could be. I mean, that was definitely me. It's like, you know, someday I could do that. And when I watch the movie, I'm like, that's true. That is in me. I am stuck. You don't do anything about it, but there's that, it really connects at that core. We were talking about if you think of someone, you know, back in caveman times or cave woman, how would they act? Like they're probably way more physically fit than we are now.
Apparently they're more physically fit than an Olympic athlete.
Yeah, an Olympic athlete. Probably sharper, and yet if you look at the modern day human, what's your average person? Not in extremely good shape, not the sharpest, not the smartest, probably on a ton of medication, eating processed food, watching dumbed down cartoons on TV at night. I mean, that's really the new thing. It's not just sitcoms, it's everyone's going for these little cartoons now. So it's like you're reverting back to this dumbed down medicated kid, and that's like the average human being. Like if aliens came to visit us way back in the day, they're like, oh wow, look at these species, crazy, look at how fit they are running around hunting and shit, whoa, they got it down. Fast forward, kind of like that movie Idiocracy, is like, here's the human being in 2018. You know, and we all know this inside, we could be more. There's that seed of potential, you know, probably screaming in the back of your mind here, like, you know, it's true, you're in the Matrix, that could be you. You could be Neo walking through the crowd, you know, fully awakened amongst the derpiness, yet you're not. And the beauty too of the Matrix, and this is why I think we also like it, is you're not, but there's nothing you can do about it because you're in that trance. You can't even realize it, so it takes off all that responsibility. You know, someone has to unplug you for you to awaken, or someone has to give you the pill, the red pill for you to awaken, and you have to choose it. So yeah, I think that's like one big element. It's like we all know this, that seed of potential screaming inside. And again, what is the world here today? What is the average human here today? Far from what it could be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what you may feel is that there's a potential inside you that's much, much greater than where you're at now. And we can see this even in our bodies. Julien and myself, we're not Olympic athletes by any means.
What are you saying?
Okay, we are Olympic athletes.
Working out 6 hours a day every day.
So I feel that even in my own body when my cardio isn't that great. So in my physical body even, I can see that something has been lost. But I can also appreciate that in the sense that we have a lot of benefit from modern society. We're sitting here in New York, it's a beautiful city. I don't think that we're advocating the Henry Thoreau, going back to nature approach here, although maybe doing that at times can be very beneficial. But in your physical body, you can sense something's missing. Well, going even deeper than just your body, how about your mind? If you look at everybody and you see how derpy their bodies are, what's going on in the mind? And what you'll see is that people don't have a lot of emotional resilience. They're completely lacking the ability in most cases to get present to the moment.
No discernment at all.
Yeah, very, very little discernment or subtlety, inability to respond to things quickly, just doing my job, man. That desire to be a sheep or to follow trends. There's a lot of that going on.
Confused easily. Just what? What's going on? Like one little thing that just throws them off. Like, I mean, the average human being probably is below or has regressed from what you learned in high school. Like someone maybe like 30 or so, your average Joe, has probably regressed in terms of mental capacity from high school.
Yeah, and the big one I think really that we also address in a lot of our teaching is people care way too much about what other people think. They major in minor things. This is the massive one. They major in minor things. They care about what people think. A lot of people will ask us about how we shoot videos in areas where people are even staring at us.
Yeah.
And it's because we realize that most people don't care at all. We could shoot, maybe we should even, maybe sometime when we go out here, we'll shoot like a little video just showing why we don't even care, and we'll kind of give you a sense of why we don't care. Maybe we could even throw that in this video just for fun, just out kind of raw style. So if you hear these guys over here, they're literally yelling, "Suck my dick!" And it's like, why do these guys not care if they get yelled at? Okay, suck it! So basically, why don't we care in spite of the weirdness? The reason that we don't care is because we are in touch with the fact that no one actually remembers anything. The majority of people can't remember who they see out. They don't make a big deal out of anything. They just don't really care. That's just life. So most people are completely self-absorbed in their reality, thinking everyone's judging them, when in fact, with me yelling that over there, nobody's gonna remember, just like how I won't remember who the person that yelled at me was. And most people are so out of touch with that, it just freaks them out. But that's a major reason we don't really care.
I mean, not only will they not remember, they probably don't see past their arms. Like if you're walking in the street, especially with social media, everyone's just like, ugh, like in this daze. They look around, they're so self-absorbed. It's like, what's in my immediate vicinity? Like even now, I don't notice who the fuck's across the street. Someone could be yelling and I'm just like, what? What about me? My vicinity. They don't see you at all. And even if they do happen to see you, they'll forget it immediately. Because it's like, okay, but how does that relate to me? You could see some crazy shit. Like literally, we could be walking here and someone just like starts shitting here and our reaction would be like, shit.
They're shitting. So, we even saw someone pissing once in an upper club in San Fran, pissing on the window. Do you remember
There's the window and the guy's like, on the window. And what was our reaction? Like, anyway, back to our video. Like that was it.
Back to us.
And literally didn't think of it at all. Well, until now for this example. But it's true, no one cares. We walk around thinking we're fucking Brad Pitt, some celebrity, like, fans, are there fans anywhere staring at me? I mean, no one here even looks. Like we're walking with the camera here, there's a bunch of people with lights behind, and no one gives a fuck. You're not some celebrity, you're the little waiter in the movie no one cares about. You can do whatever you want. No one watches the waiter.
It's kind of sad, but there's a freedom to it.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm like the most awkward dancer you've ever seen. Okay, light level autism. It's not a good scene, but when I did take hip hop dance class, thanks man. So when I did take hip hop dance once for a couple classes, I did learn one thing. This is the main thing I took from hip hop, other than my funky moves. What I learned was everybody's doing their dance move, and everybody is so afraid that they're being judged by everybody else. But my teacher said to me, she says, don't be afraid of being judged when you're learning to dance, because everyone's looking at themselves in the mirror. Nobody's looking at, like,
in their bubbles. Like,
yeah, and they're just in their bubble, all completely self-obsessed. Human beings, even in a conversation, are typically just focused on when their chance to talk is, or how the conversation affects them, or what their opinion is, and just getting to blather and be heard.
What about me? What about me?
What about me? So once you realize that, it is an ultimate freedom that even with all these videos that we've ever done, nobody really cares, okay? Any final thoughts?
I mean, look at this. Turn around, like, people everywhere. Who truly gives a fuck? Eh? Who truly gives a fuck? What about me?
No one cares. It's depressing, but it's also free. So much of life is spent being put on other people's scripts and caring about things that other people want you to care about so they can control you like a puppet. That being the case, you have to make a decision. Do you want to take the red pill or the blue pill? And the whole idea of taking the pill where you wake up is that you wake up kind of into a harsh world in some ways, because essentially you wake up into this brutal, painful world that is really very shocking and a lot darker than the kind of fairy tale world that has been constructed for you. But then at the same time, if you do wake up to that harsher world and see the world more as it is in reality, it also means that when you do kind of go into that dream, you all of a sudden have superpowers that other people don't have.
When you're in the Matrix, you're not very happy. You know there's more, but it's not really your fault. It's like you're just following the script for someone else. Like here, it's like, well, I care about this. I'm stuck, but it's the government. It's because this person, there's nothing I can really do. Who am I? And when you wake up and you're like, the real world example is, wow, my life's in my hand. Take responsibility for who I am, my life, and discover what I want. Not what other people want, what other people have programmed into me, what I actually want. And living that life, staying true to myself, is scary as shit, like taking responsibility. I mean, this is also why nowadays, like, everyone's stuck in this victim mentality. Like, no, it's other people, it's not me, victim mentality. It's like, it's the easiest thing to do. You just place all the responsibility on other people. And now you're just like, Yeah, it's freaky to take responsibility. This is why people even buy different programs where it's like, I will tell you the meaning of life and all the steps you have to do. You don't have to think, you just have to execute. The program that sells the most is just stay in your bubble, stay in your little pod, and this program will do everything for you. No responsibility at all. And it was like, oh, yes, do it for me. Please, it's too scary, it's too harsh. And that's the whole point of the red pill. It's take responsibility. And that doesn't mean, of course, that bad things didn't happen to you that you didn't deserve, but I'm just saying, take responsibility for what you can control and wake up. It's harsh, it's scary, but it's the truth, and that is how you free yourself. It's extremely freeing.
It's funny, too, as you say that, if you've ever read the book Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand, one of my favorite books, as well as The Fountainhead. It's kind of right-wing type content, but it's, regardless of where you stand on that, I think it's just beautiful books. And basically, that statue right there is from the cover of Atlas Shrugged. And in that book, one of the main ideas of it is personal responsibility. Yeah. And when you do wake up and take action, you are one of the people that is carrying the world. And so that's one of the themes of the book, Atlas Shrugged. In Atlas Shrugged, the whole idea was that the main entrepreneurs, the people carrying the world, they just shrug and say, screw it, and how messed up the whole world gets, right? So that is sort of an interesting thing, that you do take on an added responsibility. It does get scary to wake up, but it's also a very, very beautiful thing to wake up. And I think maybe what we do right now is we even shoot over to Times Square and maybe talk more in detail about the actual scripts that you're being put on. I think Times Square is a perfect environment for that, because it's kind of like the center of consumer culture. And I love Times Square. I actually think it's beautiful, but I can also recognize that there's sort of a pro and con to that mentality. So we're going to shoot over there, but what we want to talk to you about is the scripts that are running you and how to unplug beyond them. So what we want to do right now is challenge you and challenge your reality. And the reason that we want to do this is because I've had a chance to accomplish a lot of the financial goals that I want, or dating goals that I want, or travel goals that I want. Julien's had a lot of the same opportunities to accomplish a lot of financial goals, dating goals, travel goals, hang out with the coolest people, and that kind of thing. So both Julien and myself have had a chance to reach a lot of the goals that most people think will make them happy. There's things that you think right now, if we talk to you, you believe will make you happy. But what we're going to tell you is that a lot of these things are actually very, very hollow. So I want to lead into this by talking about a good friend of mine, John James, who actually died earlier this week. And, you know, I don't mean to say that without like crying for him or anything. I love this dude. It made me very sad to see him go. At the same time, I want to share with you from a present space what I learned from it, or what I took from it. So my friend John, he's a guy who does rap music. You can look him up. John James, I think he's awesome. You should look him up. And he would do bass jumping and skydiving while rapping. It's kind of crazy. Like a white dude from Canada doing rap. He was actually in the X Games when he was younger. He got an injury and he decided he wanted to be a rapper. So John died. Now, this is maybe less than a week ago that I found out about this. Very, very shocking. So John and I have had a lot of conversations in our friendship and talk a lot about challenges that we have or problems that we have. And John's a super positive guy, but like anybody else on this earth, he's also had challenges. Just like I've had challenges, you've had challenges. And it was very, very weird for me to see my friend who had various different, amazing things in his life, but also turmoil in his life, suddenly have his life end. Yeah. And it makes you think, okay, so you're worried about what this person thinks of you, or reaching this goal, in John's case, maybe he wants to get his rap career off the ground, all these things that you sweat and worry about. And what I'd love to say to John, if he was here watching, John, if you're watching this, what I'd like to say is, isn't it funny to think that we're all so caught up in these different things? What would you think of it if you knew that you were going to be dead next week? And obviously that's not the most practical thing to say, because in truth, you're probably not going to be dead next week. But what if you were? And what does that say about how you're living your life authentically? What I would say to you, and this is what I even learned a bit from John, because I've done this to an extent throughout a lot of my own life, is that a lot of time we live for approval of other people. We live because we want to reach a certain goal, a certain number. Say that Julien does YouTube, I do YouTube. Maybe we want to get to a certain number of subscribers or video views, or people giving you props or things like that. And there's a practical element there, because you have to make money and you have to have in our case, we have to have an audience and whatnot. But then you ask yourself, like, who would you be, Julien, if it weren't for you teaching? I asked myself, Owen, who would I be if I wasn't a teacher? What if nobody ever did come up and give me props? What would that be like? How could that even be a gift for us to experience that? It's sort of funny to think about, right? Who is that rock star? My buddy's a rapper without the fans. What is authentic to you? What is an authentic life to you? What I would say to you is that for the most part, you are in a matrix. And that matrix is trying to encourage you on other people's scripts. It says, make so much money so that compared to other people, you can feel successful, right? Like as human beings, we typically don't analyze absolute wealth. We analyze relative wealth. So you could argue that all of us have more wealth absolute wealth than a king or queen from 300 years ago. But we have a lot less relative wealth than they had, right? Because the king or queen had a lot more money compared to the people around, right? This is evolutionary because we're status-oriented creatures. But what's crazy is that, I mean, just when I hear things that people say, they'll be like, you know, we got to care about our reputation. Like, we can't let people screw with us, or it'll get around town, like, that we could be screwed with, or this person made fun of me, or this person didn't think well of me. And it's like, who cares, man? Like, anytime that my friend John James got teased or mocked, does it matter now? Anytime that he didn't have a shoot go the way he wanted to, does it matter now? I mean, this has even been something big for me, and we've talked about this. Like, even for me, like back in the day, I always made every video that I ever did to last forever and ever. It was everything I ever did was meant to last for thousands of years after I was dead and gone. That doesn't mean that it will. That's a very arrogant assumption to make, but that was my goal when I was shooting it, was to create content that had class, content that would stand the test of time. That was always what my effort was. And it's funny to think that even nowadays with YouTube, generally speaking, it's people, like, the content is just getting to the point of just like saturate content, just tons and tons and tons of content, and whatever's just having a lot of content coming out is more popular than waiting around to do the classic video. And that made me start to realize, when I'm not around here to promote my content anymore, probably there's not going to be a lot of people watching it. And even that was a hard thing for me to deal with. I've had things like reputation loss, and I believe that because of how edgy a lot of our content is, we may suffer massive reputation loss again. I mean, there was even times where during your media fiasco that people who I thought were such good friends went into the media to trash us. And again, it's not the end of the world, but it just made you realize, like, okay, so I'm so worried about getting approval or having these different people like me, but when push comes to shove, whenever there's a media fiasco, these same people come and trash you, or the people that said they support you are probably, they'll say, good luck, bro, but they're probably not going to do that much. So, in most cases, obviously there's some people that really stood out and did come out, but that was amazing. But for the most part, you just realize you're being driven on somebody else's script, which is be a battery for the Matrix, go make money, go get status, go look cool. And I would ask you, how much of your thinking is basically ego, but ego gratification, looking cool, caring what people think of you, biological drive fulfillment, just I'm hungry, I'm horny, I'm cold, I'm this, I'm that, I need sleep, all that kind of stuff. And then social conditioning, which is basically just mindsets that are being implanted inside of you. You can even see it in the politics in this day and age in America, where the divided politics and things like that, and people are literally just essentially parroting back tropes that they've heard from whatever side of the political aisle that they fall on oftentimes. So what you're realizing is that you have been plugged into a matrix where other people who are kind of controlling the script, who benefit from you being unconscious, from you being driven by these kind of ego needs, are poking on those ego needs and pushing you around like a hamster. But what would you say, or like a rat in a maze actually trying to get a piece of cheese, but what would you say if you knew right now you're gonna die? And really, that awareness of your death is the ultimate equalizer in getting you to think about what it is that your life really means.
One question to really ask yourself that helps with this, because you can hear us talk about it like, money doesn't buy happiness, it's not gonna fix you, you think it will, but it won't. You're like, okay, well, it's easy to say, you experience some of those things. Ask yourself this right now. If right now you had all the money in the world, all the wealth in the world, all the status in the world, all the friends in the world, everything, it's impossible to make more. You have it all. It's physically impossible to make more. Would anything change? Or would you start freaking out? It's true, we're always like in this rat race, like more, trying to chase new conditions, just always pushing that finish line a little further, and we never just stop and ask ourselves, what am I chasing? What is driving me? Like, why aren't you on this chase? Is it for the approval of your parents, your father, your mother? Approval of friends? I gotta show them. Are you running away from perhaps past trauma growing up? I saw those kids in high school, which funny enough doesn't work either. That did push me a little bit in my earlier days, and I remember when I first started traveling, doing seminars, I was like, man, I'm gonna post these pictures on, say, Facebook, and everyone in Switzerland will see, and I'll show them, and no one gave a fuck. There was a couple comments like, oh, that's cool, but then it's like, back to their lives, no one cares. Chasing the approval of society, or I would go even as far as saying chasing the approval of the universe or God. It's like so much what we do, if you actually think about it, it's like we're trying to justify our existence. Like, am I worthy yet? Do I have enough money to be worthy yet? Have I made it yet? Is it okay to be me yet? Just literally trying to justify our existence. Stop trying to justify it and start living. You don't have to justify your existence. Just by being you, you're there. Reflecting on death, too, can be extremely powerful. You know, we think it's dark, like reflecting on death. Like, don't think about your own death, focus on life. However, and this even goes back to Stoicism, they would say, always keep the fact that you will die active in your mind. Like, meditate on your own death. We tend to live like we're immortals. You know, it's like, I have all the time in the world, and we put so much off. It's like this habit of waiting. Just, I'll put it off. I'll allow myself to experience joy then. I'll allow myself to live then. I'll allow myself to relax then, so on and so forth. But you could die. That moment may never come. A question to ask yourself here too is, what would you do if you knew you had a disease that was going to kill you? Would things change? Because guess what? You have a disease that's going to kill you, and it's called being alive. None of us get out of here alive. We all die. And the same with, as we were talking about, like your legacy, that's gone too. You're dead. Eventually the world will explode. You know, we tend to think like, people care about me. It's like, say we died, to get a little dark right now. Like, boom, we're dead now. How long would it take for people to actually say, stop talking about us?
I mean, we literally shot the intro to this video at the Rockefeller Center. That guy accomplished more ego goals than almost anybody. He had so much cash. But does anybody watching this really care about the real significance? Rockefeller made it. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. It's true. It's like there might be a little
And that was a big building, too. You should see the Rockefeller Center. I mean, that thing is tall.
Well, dude, yeah. No, it's like they'll talk about us like a week. Like, oh, do you hear about that? A couple weeks, a month here and there. And then the videos will just get pushed to the back. New videos will come up, take over. And a couple years from now, like, oh, I guess there were these guys. Some of the core followers would know, but no one else would really know. You know? And then you can go down that road like, well, what's the point then? What's the point? And you got to challenge yourself here to come up with your own point. That's the whole part that we talked about, taking responsibility. What if there is no point? What if there is no map given to you by anyone? What if you have to come up with your own map? And funny enough, that's that brink where it's like you're close to enlightenment and authenticity, and also close to nihilism and, you could say, depression. It's like religion, you know, for all these years, it's like, go to God, God's plan, God's plan, God's plan. And nowadays, there's actually less people who are, say, super bought into religion. I mean, it's still huge, but a lot of people are freaking out because they're saying, well, with the quote-unquote death of God, it's going to be chaos. Because a lot of people are like, well, now what? Who's going to give me the plan? And they freak out. A lot of people aren't ready to wake up from the matrix. But that's what is required. It's to wake up and see, wow, there is no plan. There are no rules forced upon me. There is no meaning forced upon me. And that gives you the freedom to come up with your own meaning, to take life in your own hands, meaning into your own hands. What is that for you?
I think a lot of people don't pause to consider that their mind hasn't been trained in a way where it could be at its peak. And so because most people tend to be in a very derpy or fuzzy state, they're very much vulnerable to being that battery in the matrix. And the reason why people love this is because they can sink into this kind of easier life where they don't have to make decisions, they don't have to own their decisions, they can ignore the bigger questions about life and death, about what really matters to them, anything to shield themselves from the greater reality with which we are all confronted, and essentially just plug themselves in as a battery on somebody else's agenda because they'll get some sort of consumer culture reward to this. And I think New York was actually a great place to shoot this. We're actually on the Brooklyn Bridge right now because New York's a place where it is very beautiful. I think it's one of the most incredible cities in the entire world, and it could be the best. And I love that. I think it's a stunning place. But at the same time, it's also a place that does sort of represent that plugged into the matrix sort of mentality. It's both very beautiful and also kind of is with that consumer culture. Much like, you know, The Matrix in the movie The Matrix is very beautiful. There's a lot of good things about it. There's even that guy that chooses to get plugged back in, but also you're not facing reality. So again, with The Matrix, do you take the red pill or the blue pill? Are you willing to look at a reality that's a little bit harsher in order to see reality for what it is and to have superpowers like Neo in The Matrix, flying around, doing kung fu, whatever it is, having your version of that, but at the same time, have a look at something harsher, and then that way you're not just a battery on somebody else's script. And what I would even ask you is it more important for you to live an authentic life where you actualize your potential even if there's pain, or would you rather avoid the pain and stay in the Matrix? Now, what I've experienced is that most guys want to stay in the Matrix until the Matrix itself becomes too painful. So if your life is going along well, being plugged in and being a part of the consumer culture and whatnot, really, this video might not appeal to you because you're comfortable where you're at. But I find, just in my experience, most people who seek out this type of content, I know yourself, myself, you're probably not satisfied. The Matrix didn't quite work for you. And for that reason, you're saying, look, if you got to show me something painful, wake me up, show me so that I can actually have the type of experience of life that I want to have. So this is why Julien teaches programs like Transformation Mastery to wake you up from trauma, but this is also why you've got to change many different things if you want to be on the path of self-actualization. And what I would say to you is realize that everything from your food intake, to the way that you use your body, to the people who you're around, to the decisions that you make, to letting go of negative energy or trauma, to learning what's running you, essentially what you're doing is you're spending your life figuring out what is running you, what you are in reaction to, opening your eyes to these different things, and then from there, getting in touch with what you really want and moving more in that direction. And really just embracing the pain and shock of that freedom, which for most people, it's really almost too much to bear. But of course, an authentic life is a very, very beautiful life and a very legendary life, and I think that it is worth doing. So that being the case, what I want to get you doing right now is I want to get you auditing what is running you. What different forces are controlling you? Where are you in reaction to your ego or beliefs that essentially in the face of death will be completely pointless? Versus, by the way, and I think it's worth being said, maybe where are some areas where you care about what people think, and it is important. Who are those 5 or 10 people in your life who you do care about what they think, where you do value being in harmony with them, versus where the people who you don't care about that much.
Yeah, one way to also notice or become aware of who those people are, what you truly care about, is a process I do in Transformation Mastery where you sink into the perspective that you just died. And this is an exercise you can do at home where just lie down and sink into that perspective. Imagine you died right now and go through the motions. Like, you died, who would find out about your death? How would they react to the news that you just died? How would your relatives react to that? Your friends, your partner? Are there any words left unsaid? What would your funeral be like? Who would be there? What would they say about you? Who would you wish were there? Who are the people you wish you can come back to life for and say, thank you for being there for me. You matter. People who might have always had your back, but you were chasing the approval of people you realize now that you're dead, I don't really care about them. I should have been there for those people instead. It just brings a lot of truth to life. And a couple other things I'd add to what you said is, it really starts with committing to life and committing to reality. It's like, do you want to stay in this fantasy land? And there's a strong pull for that too. It's like, take that blue pill. Even with things like virtual reality now or video games, what is it? It's like
more so.
Going further and further in that fantasy land. It's like, it conditions you to consuming. And that's another question on your audit. It's how often are you producing as opposed to consuming? Because if you start training yourself to just consume, like you sit at home, turn on Netflix, play video games, eat food, just always consuming, you lose touch with what it's like to produce, to generate, to create, to take action and partake in this world. And it can be very hard to reconnect with that, to the point where it's like you're just so lost in consuming, your solutions will just be more consuming on top of that. So committing to life. Are you ready to see life for what it is? Not for what you want it to be, for what it is, including the fact that life is not always fair, the bad things happen, that it can be harsh, that it's not all peachy. Are you willing to see it for what it is? And it's a choice you have to make. Like, you have to sit down with yourself, be like, what do I want? The blue pill or the red pill? Do I feel like there's something missing? Am I ready to face the fact that I'm gonna die? Am I ready to face the fact that harsh times are gonna happen? I'm gonna have to confront a lot of my inner demons. And that's another thing you were talking about, like past trauma running you. Where does this need for more, this constant, endless chase come from? Reflecting back on your childhood. And this is something we all go through due to the way that we're conditioned, where as a kid, you're rewarded when you're good, you're punished when you're bad. So by default, you're taught and conditioned that I'm not good enough. Only the good, rewarded part of me, the good little kid, is good enough, but not this bad part of me. So you label it that way. And then you live your life trying to compensate for that stuff you have inside. And that's a whole other process where you have to go back and learn how to re-own that. Otherwise, you're just chasing more and more. It doesn't matter how much you compensate, you're still gonna be compensating. So it's sitting down, making that pact, and then just diving deep into what's going on. I'm ready to see it. I'm ready to see, the raw, real part that is life, like the ugly truth that is in fact also beautiful at the same time, as opposed to the fantasy. I'm ready to embrace uncomfort in doing so. And I would even write this down, like, what are you willing to sacrifice for that red pill? Are you ready to sacrifice your ego? The answer should be yes. Are you ready to sacrifice your comfort zone? The answer should be yes. Are you ready to sacrifice who you think you are? The answer should be yes. Are you ready to challenge all of your beliefs? The answer should be yes. All of your bearings of the world and be open to something new? The answer should be yes. Are you willing to take that risk? And I don't know if everyone, let's just say, is ready yet. If you talk to some of your friends, it might be no. Maybe you're like, I don't know. But eventually something will happen that might create that opening. A bit of adversity perhaps. Or just sitting with yourself and noticing that mild refrigerator hum of uncomfort. Just not feeling at ease. Asking yourself, why did this movie, The Matrix, really connect with me? Is there that seed of potential inside of me? Is there that possibility for more? Is that voice kicking in now, watching this video? That voice you've quieted all your life, all these years in the background, like, listen to him, listen. Are you gonna let that voice come a little closer to the surface? Or are you gonna stuff it back down? That's the question. So I wanna start by comparing what it was like before, being stuck in the herd, stuck as a battery in the matrix, as opposed to getting into this type of work and slowly coming out of it. Again, it's a journey. I'm not saying that I'm there yet, or am I? But there is a massive difference that, everyone can tell. So for me before, a typical day would often revolve in massive overthinking, overanalyzing, over-worrying, and over-self-attacking, where 90% of my day, those were the thoughts I had. And I'd ask you right now, are those the thoughts you have? Do you spend most of your day just worrying, for example, about the future? Am I gonna be okay? Financial worry? Am I gonna have enough money? What about this? Am I gonna be able to support for myself? Am I gonna find the answers, find the solutions? Just nonstop worry. What do people think of me? Walking down the street, oh my God, did the strangers think negatively of me? What do my friends think of me every day? What does my partner think of me? What does my family think of me? What does my boss think of me? What about my colleagues? What do they think of me? Am I good enough? Oh my God. What if they think negatively of me? Oh my God, just nonstop on repeat. Self-attack. Why did I do that? Why am I like this? Why am I not smart enough? Why am I not good enough? Why do I keep fucking up? God damn it, you piece of shit, non-stop. Why do I look like this? Why is my life this way? Why am I so stuck? Why am I not living up to my full potential? Why do people keep leaving me? Why do people keep betraying me? That was most of the mental energy going on. And then of course, I had nothing left to focus on opportunities because everything was just going there. I would get triggered all the time. Something would happen and I would just be gone. Like, God damn it, just something would run me. Triggered when it comes to anxiety. Couldn't say hi to people, couldn't put myself out there. I wanted to speak up. I wanted to express myself, but I just couldn't, and I just couldn't explain it. I was constantly living in reaction. I had no idea what I wanted to do in life, who I wanted to be. Just lost. You might feel the same, like, hey, what do you want to do in life? I don't know, I'm just kind of winging it. I'm just trying this, that. I have no purpose. I would procrastinate all the time. I'd self-sabotage all the time. Anything that was thrown at me, I would just find a way to lose it, whether it was friendships, relationships, money, health. It was absolutely insane. And I would just stay stuck. And as the years would go by, you could try to crawl out, but that stuckness would remain until I started getting into this type of work. And as soon as I did, the first big notice is just that self-sabotage. We try so hard to make success happen, but if you just remove pushing it away and allowing it to land, things change in ways you cannot imagine, whether it's in terms of your income, your health, your relationships. The example I like to use is the compliment. Most people, when they get complimented, they don't even notice it as a compliment. They take it as a sarcastic insult. Or if they start moving up, they'll take the compliment, but then deflect it, like, oh, whatever, it's nothing. They can't let it land. If that's you, go beyond a compliment. How many opportunities are you not even seeing? How many opportunities are right there in front of you? I'm sure you've heard this before, like, the world is filled with opportunities. You're like, well, where are they?
Where is it?
Self-sabotage. Past trauma running you, getting triggered, unable to put yourself out there at all. you let go of that. Instead of trying to find techniques to fight against it, you just don't have it. So much more energy, as opposed to just being run, self-attacking, worrying, trying to cope with yourself. Just allowing yourself to experience more joy, and you start resonating with things that start pulling you up as opposed to pulling you down. Whether it's distractions, trying to numb yourself, drinks, TV stuff, mainstream, like the things the masses do to just kind of numb your brain. You stop resonating with that. You don't have to make yourself like resist it. You just are no longer attracted to that. And you start moving up, you start getting smarter, more creative. You become a genius, or what some would consider a genius in a way. The results are just out of this world.
Yeah, I mean, even hearing you talking about this, I'm actually weirdly, even though I see this every day, we teach all the time, I'm like emotionally affected by it. I'm thinking of this, I'm like this is bad shit, man. Because I grew up in it myself. I can remember being a kid, and I mean, this is kind of funny. I would try to learn how to drink beer because I wanted to fit in with other people who were drinking beer. I wasn't never a big drinker, but I had my little phase where I tried to learn how to drink alcohol. And I just remember thinking, this tastes like gasoline. Or, I mean, this is some kind of some, yeah, like some kind of weird random examples. But I remember seeing these Garfield toys at McDonald's, and there was a cartoon for these Garfield toys. There was these 4 different Garfield toys, like a skateboard and a surfboard or something. And I remember thinking, like, I want to get this little plastic 5-cent Garfield toy and play with it and think it's cool. I want to get drunk in high school and think it's cool. I want to laugh at the dumb jokes that my kids have in my classes and think it's cool. And I remember even asking my father, like, Dad, do you like work? And he's like, no, I hate work. I'm like, well, is it better than school? He's like, no, it's not even better than school. And I really wasn't that into school, the stuff that I was learning in the education system. And then hearing my father say that work wasn't really much better, and he had a good job. I didn't even anticipate to make as much of an income as my dad had. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, man, life is not good.
These are the best years of your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yep. And it bothered me because I was literally coming from a place where I had thoughts of suicide when I was younger because of the fact that I couldn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. I couldn't see how this journey was going to result in anything. And I see this so much with people who we interact with and try to help, where they don't like their job, they're unhappy, they're being run by trauma, they're triggered. A big one that we've covered is they're in the competitive frame rather than collaborative frame. You can see how stifled they are, how their mind isn't working properly, and what we see as coaches is infinite potential. We see every single client that we've ever worked with making the kind of money they want to make, meeting the kind of people they want to make, being an attractive person, and being able to attract a partner in a very, very, very effective way. We see them smiling, we see them laughing, we see that potential. But of course, when the person's starting, they're often don't laugh that much, don't smile that much, and their mind is suppressing them. Now, the major key here is that when you're in this kind of lowered state, that the monotony of the boring commute to work, the uninspiring job, the lack of direction, when you're in that kind of derp state, you've got to get it off of yourself. You've got to shake this off, and you've got to make this a major, major priority. Now, I'm just going to give you a very simple example, but maybe if you've watched videos from Julien, myself, or other people who we work with, you might find it strange that we always have a lot of new content, which we we just come up with it off the dome. We don't even have to prepare it in many cases, and we're able to have an incredible output. You see us doing this with products that we launch, with free videos that we do, with courses that we create, with work that we do, and also the incredible results that we're able to produce with the people who take our programs. And you're thinking, where are they coming up with this? How are they doing it? When you begin to wake up, you won't find your work as tiring. You won't find it exhausting to go and meet people and socialize. You'll find it fun. You'll find it enlivening. You'll find it exciting to go work a 12-hour day. You won't get sick as frequently because you don't have as much cortisol and adrenaline bogging you down and frustrations. And most important, your short life experience on this earth becomes more fun. Now, the major thing here, again, is that waking up from the derp state. And you can really see this with people based on if you take a freeze frame of their face and you look at them and you can see, these are some frequent things that I see when people are kind of being bogged down. They have a deadness in the eyes. Also, look at how often they laugh. Look at how often they smile. Look at how often they're playful or childlike. What is the purpose? Even if you are within the matrix and you make all the money in the world or met many great partners or whatever it is, let's say that you did all that. What is even the purpose of that if you're not going to be smiling and laughing? Essentially, you're just going through the motions in some kind of sociopathic manner, not even able to let land or enjoy the good things that are happening. So much of being in the matrix is an illusion. It is not satisfying. Here's what is satisfying, okay? You think that just getting a car or getting some kind of physical pleasure or something is satisfying. It's satisfying for a minute, and then it gets old quick. You ever had it where you got a new TV that was a lot bigger than your old TV? You used to have a 14-inch TV. You got a 60-inch TV, and for the first 5 minutes, you're like, look at this. Yeah. Look at this amazing TV. And then later, it just becomes normal. You've lost the excitement for the television. If you get a new partner, you're completely in bliss with them for the first few months. Later, you can't stand each other because you've both gone back into that derp state that you're used to being in. Maybe you get a new job and then you adjust your income and then now you just have bigger bills. This is all too common. Real satisfaction waking up for the matrix means a couple of different things. First of all, it means that you are more present to the moment and alert. So therefore, you're able to see opportunities that are in front of you. Maybe you have an incredible money-making opportunity or incredible opportunity to meet somebody. You're more likely to resonate with going after it and getting that done, having some kind of benefit from it. Maybe you're more able to be healthy because of the fact that you're not attacking yourself psychologically. They've proven that even placebo pills can get rid of illness in around half of cases. Well, why is that? It's because just the feeling that you're getting healed alone, often a placebo winds up fixing somebody, which is pretty messed up to think about. Well, ask yourself, are you giving yourself like a fake poison pill in your body every day? Or you're giving yourself that kind of like feeling of happiness every day? How's that going to affect your physical health, your mental health? Also, it's who you become in the process. It's when you think about who you are that you're proud of that person. That alone is perhaps worth more than any of this stuff. Simply being proud of who you are as a human being. When you look in the mirror, do you smile and feel proud of it? Or do you feel like you never really achieve your potential and that you're just kind of messed up? So that is a big aspect. But from there, and this is really, really big, is that as you let go of trauma energy, of denseness, of derpiness, as you let go of that, the extra energy that you have to get more done winds up making your life better. But of course, because you've woken up, you're also able to enjoy it more. So not only are you making more money, you're enjoying it more. How about as far as socializing? Look, let's say that you're at a bar or club and there's 1 million people there. Well, when you've woken up, you're not in this fear state of competition. You're in a collaborative state where it feels like everybody's your friend. It becomes easier to go about meeting people. You wind up getting better results. So not only is it easier to meet people, but then you're happier because you met cooler people and brought them into your life, and you can have more pleasure and experiences with that. Likewise, maybe you look, should I eat something that has nutritional density to it, or should I eat something that's going to mess me up? And all of a sudden, when you start to resonate with self-respect, maybe you want to take those weird Eastern herbs or eat the kale that day, rather than doing something to harm yourself like drugs and alcohol, because of the fact that you have that self-respect. You don't even have to try to do that. It's something that you naturally resonate with. And most of all, it's that you don't start sabotaging yourself, because most of what people are doing is just continual, utter self-sabotage. And when you can wake up from that, oftentimes success just comes to you. So you want to be about raising yourself and waking up, and you also want to be results-oriented. Here's what's funny. Being results-oriented and waking up are the same thing. It's a matter of making it easier, entering into a energetic reality where things come more easily and you enjoy them more easily, where you're actually aligned with what you're here and meant to do, and because you're aligned with it, you do better at it, and it's more fun to do, and it's easier. So this is something that we've witnessed from working with people for years. In dating advice, we would certainly witness it with guys sabotaging themselves to no end, and then they'd be in this kind of negative, dense reality, needing 1 million tricks to figure out how to get the solution they want because they're in such a dense reality. You know, some guy walking around kind of negative, no one wants to talk to him, so he thinks he needs 1 million tricks. But then we also have seen this in the fields of money making, health, wealth, relationship, higher purpose, all of it. And this is where the solution of waking up begins to come in.
Yeah, I mean, self-sabotage is definitely one of the biggest, let's just say, factors or even motivators to get into this. I mean, when you see it, it's easier to see it in others at first, but then you turn around and you're like, where am I doing this? Like, start noticing, like, where am I pushing things away? Where am I making things harder than they need be? You know, It's like just coming up with problems you don't have to have, and then needing tricks and solutions and more hustle and work and effort, trying to kid yourself that it's making progress when you're just making things harder. You know, not only that, but you're not enjoying your life. Like, how often do you smile? How often do you laugh? Those are some questions to ask yourself. Like, if you didn't laugh today, you're fucking up. Is that success? Being all serious, all, ugh. You know, there was a quote somewhere I remember reading where it's like, you can hustle all you want, but you know what's even better and gets you more results than just putting your head down and hustling and becoming a negative fuck? Being friendly. And like you said, it's not just about sitting there and just being happy. It's about coming at it from this foundation of you being happy and no longer just self-attacking, wasting energy, and then from there, fucking thriving. And the cool thing is you get the results and you enjoy them. As you said, if you're not enjoying the results, those are not results. If you're just getting the thing to get the thing, and then you're like, ugh, I'm still the same shitty person. I guess but I heard it's good. Maybe more of it. That's not results. You're chasing phantoms. You're wasting your life away. If you're not enjoying your life right now, you're not living. You're wasting your life away. And as you said, take a freeze frame. Do an audit on your life. Who are the people around you? Who are the people you're looking up to? Remember this, pause the video. If you're listening to someone's like, hey, results, and you pause it and they look absolutely horrible, they're never laughing, never smiling, it's just like this, is that a role model? Is that results? Or are those the wrong kind of results?
I want to get you thinking of what your perfect day would look like, okay? So compared to now, you've done an audit of the places now where you're kind of asleep and plugged into the matrix. And I want you to imagine what your perfect day would look like. So even if I just think about it for myself, I wake up and I feel well rested because my body has a lot of healthy foods that's been put into it. I'm ready to get to work. I'm excited because I love what I do. Why do I love what I do? Because I found something where I've woken up and I've figured out what aligns to me personally. So I'm excited to get to work. And when I go to work, I find that I have more energy than almost anyone that I've seen. I have an unlimited energy to get things done. I'm able to see subtlety. I'm able to see what really has to happen. And I'm really able to just smash out task after task without really worrying about it too much. And this doesn't mean that I'm like this every day of my life. It doesn't mean that I don't have problems, but at least this is the default where it's the case most of the time. I'm also laughing through my work a lot of the time. I'm enjoying it. I'm seeing the childlike humor in what it is that I'm doing. Maybe I go out that day and I go do something that I really enjoy. Maybe I have a partner who I go meet up with and I have a really, really incredible, intimate experience with them, and it is good, okay? It's very good. From there, maybe I go out that night and I go do something that really resonates with me personally, a hobby that I have that I absolutely love and I have a great time doing it. At the end of the day, maybe I go out to a bar or a club or somewhere where there's a lot of people, wherever that is, and I wind up talking to everybody. And I have a great time with people. It doesn't cause me nervousness, but I truly enjoy it. All the while, I've been reading books, doing meditation, growing, getting smarter, getting a stronger immune system, making more distinctions, growing in my personal power, and getting more present to the moment by the day. Everything is getting easier for me, even though I'm accomplishing more. I'm clearer in my intent and who I am and how to manifest and push through that power out into the world. Rather than just being hammered with influences, I am the influence. And from that, I'm pre-planning many long-term goals that will give me true satisfaction, make me laugh, make me have more fun. And the really big part here is that it's synergistic. So the fun feeds in the work feeds in the fun, the food feeds into you being able to do more work, the intimacy that you have with people feeds into your desire to continue to move forward, to be more social. Being more social helps you to meet people who could help you with work, and you're expanding and expanding. And from there, you're also learning to let go of it all, because someday you're gonna have to die. And for that reason, you're also on an inward journey where you are finding out who you really are, even beyond all of this. You're results oriented, but you're also waking up internally as you achieve the results. So that's just a simple example of what waking up can mean to me. You're not running off of somebody else's script. You're not being fooled. You're not having a life where at the end of it, you're like, man, I really wish I would have had that. You've woken up from the trance of being pulled around like a puppet, and you are living a life that is true to you. You have the power to do this. And there's many tools out there to help you get to that point in your destination. But of course, it's a journey, because for Julien, for myself, as much as we've been on the journey, it gets better and better every year. If anybody tells you they've come enlightened or anything like that, I don't really know about that, but if they say they're on the journey and they're improving, they want to show you how you could walk along that journey, and maybe they're a little further up the road and kind of provide you with tools, blueprints, maps, methods to get there faster, to wake you up, and to really show you what's possible. I think that's a beautiful thing. We've been trying to show you here in this video. Hope that you enjoyed it very, very much. We want you to wake up, wake up, wake up!
What you waiting for?
What are you waiting for? Because the whole world is out there for you to enjoy. And we'll see you soon. Peace.
This is Julien, and welcome to Transformation Mastery.
It was fucking amazing.
This was huge for me. This was so important.
This gave me by far the greatest epiphanies I've ever had.
And we got like real deep, and I found some issues within myself.
One of the best things I've seen so far in my life.
What you're about to experience going through this program is what completely changed my life on every single level. Okay, be it health, wealth, relationships, higher purpose, you name it. This is the stuff that finally produced that true, long-lasting personal transformation we're all after.